Today's session is going to be on how you can extend your e-commerce store with Zoho Commerce and Zoho Flow. So in today's session, we are going to see about, what is e-commerce automation and what are basically the benefits. And we'll also be seeing a demo of how you can connect your commerce with Zoho Flow. And it's going to be a very great session if you are already selling and you would really like to increase your, productivity at work. So going into the session. So what is e-commerce workflow automation? So as online store owners, you have multiple responsibilities. Like, getting order is one thing, right? So we need to do a lot of marketing activities, get people to come into your website, and once they come, they convert. And once the order is placed, it doesn't end there. You need to process the order, pack it, and send it. And there's also like a lot of back end operations with your inventory management, etc., etc. So workflow automation is a great thing which can simplify a lot of things. So a lot of paperwork gets eliminated with this process. So later on in this presentation, I'm going to be running you through two use cases, and the Zoho Flow expert, he's going to show you how you can basically connect it. So you're going to have a demo as well as to how you can execute it. So keeping that in mind, we understand workflow automation is important. And we also need to understand that one app cannot help you do that. So there are multiple apps. So in Zoho, that is why we have multiple apps within Zoho, because they talk with each other and basically help people optimize a lot of their workforce. So let's go ahead. So why connect multiple apps? So as discussed, it's going to increase your efficiency, it's going to save time, and more than that, it's going to avoid manual errors. There are a lot of sellers who come to us, because of the fact that they say, one of our major issues is we write down orders and then we send out something completely different, because nothing is in said. When you write later, when you go, and my handwriting sucks, so when I go back and read it, I just think it's something else. So this sort of issues happen. So paper is not going to cut it. And yes, so you might be already having an e-commerce store, and you can be having an order, but every time if you're on Zoho Commerce, every time an order comes in, you need to go back into the platform, see what are the orders. And yes, you can trigger an email, but how many offers are constantly looking at our emails? No. But it will be really helpful if once an order is placed, you get a notification on your phone, so that you can actually immediately go in and process the order if you're free. So there are a lot of things, there are a lot of small things that you are missing out on, and you don't realize it. You might be thinking this is the only way to run an online business, but not. Flow gives you the capability of connecting all of these apps together, and bringing in a seamless workflow. So as you can see, the last point is basically you can get creative in your operations. If you feel there is an easier way to do something, you can definitely do it with the help of Zoho Flow. So where automation is vital. So one is you can basically automate your entire support process, where the information is flowing. As soon as an order is pushed out, you can automate a message to be sent out, and same way that message is recorded to your support team. So anybody calls them or right back to them, they immediately have access to the information. So basically you can automate the entire experience. Everybody is on the same page, and we give a better experience, and also empower the support team by giving them the information that they need to do their job easier. And another thing is marketing. So definitely, if you had attended any of our previous webinars, we have had sessions about email marketing, where as soon as one thing is basically welcome email. So as soon as somebody comes and signs up, there's an automatic email that goes out, and it cannot be achieved by just Zoho Commerce. We need Zoho Campaigns to do that for us. And again, Zoho Commerce and Campaigns are directly integrated. But what if you want the information to go to Zoho CRM, and from CRM you want the information to flow to Campaigns? So all of this, Flow can easily automate all of this experience for you, and you can send targeted messages. So we have a couple of use cases which we'll be seeing in the following slides. And purchase order automation, vendor supplier onboarding, as well as order and inventory management. So these are all the process that you are currently doing, and there are various places you would definitely, because you're running it, you will definitely have ideas about how you can automate it. You can seamlessly, like these small things that you want to automate, and you want to, ensure a proper workflow. It definitely can be done. So pain points that automation can solve. This is something it's a global statistics that I just came across, and I found them like kind of mind blowing. Like 97% of executives believe that a lack of team alignment impacts outcome. Basically, when the information, let's take e-commerce itself as an example. So once an order is come in, not everybody has an access to seeing the order details in your team. So basically, somebody from the operations team is going to download the list of orders and give it to the probably the delivery team or whatever, who are like in charge of packaging the products. But the moment this person is going to delay, or they are off one day, or they take an extended lunch break, just imagine you are going to lose that 1 hour or 2 hour, which is extremely important, because there is a dedicated pickup time for your products, right? 5 o'clock FedEx comes and picks it up, and you miss that time, you will have to ship out your products the next day. So these are the kind of problems that majorly organizations across the world have. So that is where automation helps. So yes. Now, to the use case. So we are from the marketing team. So for us, marketing use cases, it's something that, comes to our head. So that's why I have highlighted it. Next, we have an operational use case. So targeted marketing. So like I said, Zoho Commerce talks with CRM. So you use CRM as a central place where you save your customers' detail, the orders, the products that they have ordered, and the history, etc. So you can basically use CRM and create small buckets, and use those buckets, and send that particular list to campaigns, and send very targeted messages. So loyal customers, a customer who's been buying from you for the last 3 years, you can create very specified offers and run only to them. So there are a lot of opportunities open up once you connect systems together. And another operation is basically your end-to-end operation. So this is another use case that I earlier explained. So once an order comes into Zoho Commerce, it gets created as a desk ticket, Zoho desk ticket. So each order gets created as a ticket, and when you connect this desk to click, what happens is that whoever is in charge, they are intimated immediately. They get a notification. So everybody has their phone at hand. So you are immediately intimated about the particular order. And, once you process the order, you can again use desk to update it. And immediately, like Zoho Commerce takes in the order as delivered, or marked as sent, shipped, etc. So you can basically do all of this. So it might seem complicated, but with Flow, later on you will see the demonstration how you connect the systems. It's extremely simple, and once that's done, it's going to simplify, and it's going to reduce your operation time crazily. So like I said, even 1 hour, even half an hour matters in e-commerce, because your order or deliveries are going to get picked up, because we are always dependent on third party shipping integrations, and we don't have our own time. We are always pressed for time, and Flow can definitely help you to seamlessly automate the process. So all right. Now, onto the Zoho Flow team, and they will help you, understand the product a little bit better. Thank you.
You can see my screen too.
Yes.
Great. Okay, thank you, Ashish, for the introduction in the beginning. And again, hello, everyone. This is Rahul from Zoho Flow team. I work with the customer success team plus marketing. And I'm here to show you how this product works. And we'll look at some nice use cases. Basically, I'll create one from scratch. And we'll also look at how I have built over the same use case to show you how different applications come together. What's the value in it for you if it comes to working with multiple applications? So yeah, we're good to go. Ashish, everything set, right?
Absolutely. We can't see your video. So if it's an
No,
issue,
I have just, uh,
that's okay then. All right, cool.
yeah, I didn't want to keep
That's
seeing
okay.
myself. So I think, yeah, I want people to look at the screen. So, all right. Great. So you are seeing the products interface, and I'm in the My Flows section where you can see different cards. These are different workflows that are created across multiple applications. So you can see in one case where I'm trying to connect Asana with Sheet to Slack. So similarly, there is scope of connecting unlimited number of applications in different ways. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it relevant to commerce. So I'll pick an example. I'll create a simple flow between Zoho Commerce and CRM and show you how I'm taking certain data from Zoho Commerce and moving it to Zoho CRM. And then we'll see a pre-built example wherein the same thing has been added with more options, more detailing. And then you can see how a bigger use case has come into picture. So let's go ahead and understand how it works. You need to click on this plus button on the left or on the right. And Ashish, just let me know if anybody asks anything. I won't be looking at the chat. So just you can interrupt in between.
Absolutely. All right.
Let's click create here. And it asks you to give the name because you saw multiple cards sitting there. You should be able to identify what the use case is. And you can give it a name. For example, I'll call it Zoho Commerce to CRM. Description is optional. Let's leave it. Click create. Now you will be presented with three options. These are basically trigger types. So just to give you an idea of how this whole platform works, Zoho Flow works on this concept of triggers and actions. Triggers are basically the starting point, the events that start the automation. And you have three types of them here. One is app-based trigger, which basically looks at the events happening in a particular application. For example, you get an email, you get a task created, you get a new ticket created in this kind of application. So such kind of events you can pick as trigger based on this first option. And second is schedule based trigger, means if you want to run an automation at a given time or at an interval, you can do that using this second option. And third one is webhook based trigger, which means that if you don't see the app that you're trying to connect, then chances are you can explore this option where you'll take this URL and paste it in the webhook setup of a particular application. So if you know about the webhook, you'll know that some applications have their webhook support, and you can just go ahead and ping their databases if you want to look at them. So we'll go back, and I'm going to go with the simpler example, which is capturing the app event. Pick that and go next. And I was telling that the philosophy is that you have triggers and then you have actions that can be automated. So I'll be showing you how actions come together. So go next. And next window will show you a list of all the applications that Zoho Flow supports. At this time, we have 500 plus apps that we support. So you can go ahead and pick any of them. In this case, let's take commerce. And we are in the earliest stages of this application's API capabilities. So we are looking at the order ecosystem for now. We can look at more APIs being built over products and inventory details, and all those things can be incorporated here. So for now, let's keep it to the orders. So here you can see, once you pick the application, you can see list of triggers that this particular app supports. You have new order, canceled order, confirmed order, and events like those. So based on any of these, you can automate a process. And all these are real-time triggers, means The moment the data is submitted in Zoho Commerce, it will be pushed to Zoho Flow immediately. In some cases, you'll be seeing polling here, which means the execution is not instant. It takes place at an interval of 5 minutes, 15 minutes based on the plan you're in. So let's go ahead and take the new order as the trigger and go next. Now, next interface asks you to connect an account from which you want to get the order details. Now, for that, you can click on this new button. This is basically new connection, which is the way for Zoho Flow to access data from a particular application's account. Click on this and it will ask you to provide the name to the connection. You click authorize and it will then ask you which store you want to connect. And once you give those details, your connection will be created. And keep in mind that this connection can be used across multiple workflows. So rather than creating a new one, what I'll do is I'll go back, and you also have the option of picking the particular modules that you want to capture. You can choose to ignore some of them when it comes to moving the data to Flow. So if you have certain sensitive information that you don't want to move, you can uncheck them, and that way you can create the connection. So let's go back and take the one that I already have. So this is one store that I'm going to show you how the order creation and the automation follows based on that order. Once you choose the connection, it will start showing you all the stores that are there. I'm sorry, I was mentioning store before this connection. So basically it's after the connection, it will pull all the store details. Pick the one that you want to get data from and click done. And with that, your trigger of new order creation in Zoho Commerce is ready. Now you are in the drag and drop workflow builder, wherein you can choose to automate any of the actions across these 500 applications that we have. So these actions are basically various tasks that we have listed under each app, and you can search any of the apps. So in this case, we are planning to search for CRM, and under CRM, you'll see a list of different actions or tasks that you can automate. You can choose to create a lead. You can choose to create any of the module entries that you want, create an event, create an order, all those things you can do. So here in this case, what we'll do is we will keep it simple. We'll try to search whether there is a lead in CRM in this name that has created the order. So for that, you first need to search whether there is a lead in CRM or not. So for that, what you can do is you can first go and fetch for the lead value. So fetch module entry, or you could choose any of these two. It's very specific, and this one will ask you for which module you want to pull data from. So drag and drop it here. And a similar window opens with additional values on the right. I'll explain those in a moment. So this interface basically is configuration of the action that you're planning to automate based on the order creation in Zoho Commerce. So again, you can create a connection, or you can pick the one that is already there. Red one is the one that's not working because I have changed the password. So if it expires, you need to go to settings and create the basically reconnect it. I'll show you those things later on. Let's pick this connection. And after picking the connection, it will start pulling all the modules that are sitting there in CRM. So you can choose leads module, and the module has a couple of layouts. You can take one. Now under the layout, you'll have certain values. These are the attributes of that lead: first name, last name, email, company, all those details. Now, basically, you're trying to search for this lead in CRM. That's the action. It will go and search for the lead in CRM. For that, you need a unique identifier. That could be either an ID or the email. So let's just go with email. Now, the point is, how will you get this email? Where is this email? So for that, on the right side, you have these variables. These are basically, we call them payload. These are variables that come in from the previous steps. You'll have multiple steps. In that case, you can collapse it and see all the nodes that are there preceding this step. And you can look at any of those values and pass them to these fields that you see right now. So what I'll do is, I want the email ID of this particular person who has created the order. How do I get that? So here in this payload, you have contact person details. Click on this. Now, this is not going to be tricky everywhere, but in this case, it's a little bit tricky. Here, what happens is you have all the details coming in about this person. You will have the email ID, you'll have the first name, and you'll have phone number and other details. What you need to do is, it's kind of line item which is sitting under one payload. So you can go ahead and search for a particular value. So this is one syntax that we usually use in the case of commerce. This is not something that you'll see everywhere. This is very specific to commerce, which is going to be changed when we have certain features that get added in Zoho Flow. So for now, we are looking at this contact person's details using this syntax, which is email. So zero dot email is what will give you the email, and you can probably take the same value because everything sits under contact person details, and probably create a last name. You don't need to map here because your idea is to just search for the lead. So this email will suffice. And we'll be skipping all these optional fields. So let's go ahead and click done. Now this fetch step is basically going to search for the lead. Now we have to make a decision over this. We don't know whether this lead will be there in CRM or not. Now to know that, you have certain features here under logic section on the top left. So if you see here beside the apps, you have this logic section. Now you go there and you'll see under that certain values. So you have flow control elements. They allow you to make decisions, make your workflows more granular based on those decisions being met or not met. So set variable allows you to create your own value and pass on to the other steps. Decision is something that allows you to look at one of the values and make a decision and branch the workflow uh, based on those criteria being met. Let me quickly cross check if I have taken this properly. Idea is to give 0, not oh, it went by mistake. So yeah, zoom out, click done. And this decision is what will allow you to look at certain values to make a decision. So drag and drop it here, and it will open an interface like this. This interface allows you to look at all the values that are coming in from previous steps. Just the way you see all the values here, you are able to look at them here, and you can pick any of those and make a decision. So my idea is that I'll go to the search of that email lead basically, and see if it's there or not. So the second node is here, which is fetch module entry, and I'm fetching the lead using this step. My idea is that I want to know whether this lead exists in CRM or not. Now, what I can do is I can look at the particular ID that it throws at me on search. So entry ID is basically the lead ID, and I'll make a decision that if the lead ID is null, that means this lead doesn't exist in CRM. So you go ahead and click done. So you have the scope of adding more such values and make decisions and or conditions you can have, and add them in the decision. So if the lead ID is null, that means this lead is not there in CRM. Click done. You have made a decision. You can rename it as no lead found. Now, after this condition is being met, you have two ways to work on this. One is the right side branch, which is conditional branching, and the second one is default branching. Means if the condition is not fulfilled, then you take this branch. So what we'll do is we'll take the conditional branching, that if the lead is not found, then I'll create one. Go to the apps, search for CRM, and again, create a module entry. So you have, it will be up there. Create a module entry, drag and drop it here, and it will ask you for details. So take a connection in which you want to create a lead. So take the module. Under this module, you have the layout where you want to add the lead values. Now, after you have fetched it, you are getting certain values from here, and you don't know it's there or not. So while creating, you can take values coming in from the order and create a lead here. So here you have the last name. Now, just the way I had taken the contact person's detail, you click on this and the same syntax, dot last underscore name. I'll show you how you can look at these values in the payload itself so that you won't be losing, because you'll have multiple such values. And as I'm emphasizing, this is not going to be the common case. This is especially with this particular order creation. Later on, if you look at other applications, you won't face this thing. And this is going to change with commerce too. So you have got the last name, you can take the email ID. Email again will be the same mapping, but the change is the last part, which is email. And similarly, you can keep adding values, but none of them are mandatory at this point. So just to save time, I'll skip these. Yeah, nothing mandatory. With that, you click done. And you are now ready with an automation where when an order is created, it will check in CRM whether there is a lead with this detail or not. If not, just create one. So that's how basically Zoho Flow works. All you need to do is go ahead on the top right and click this button and your workflow will go live. So that way Zoho Flow works. Now what I'll do is, rather than executing this one, I'll go ahead and show you how the same flow has been expanded into a bigger one with more steps in it, more applications in the whole ecosystem, and explain the things. So I believe you have understood the fundamentals of how Zoho Flow works, which is configure a trigger and then go into this workflow builder and pick your applications that you want to connect. And then over it, keep adding those criteria or conditions through the logic elements that we have. You also have delay, where you can choose to delay certain action which follows for a given time frame or until a given date. So all those you can choose. If you go there, I won't spend much time on this. This, like, you can delay it for a time frame or delay until a date. So that's how it works. Let's just not work on this. So that's how fundamentally Zoho Flow works. And rather than executing this, I'll switch it off. And we'll go back to another tab where the same flow is being expanded. So let's go to this one and understand what I have done. So here, as you see, till here, I had explained that you have searched for a lead in CRM and lead was not found. Now, what we have done here is, rather than creating a lead, we went one step further and we are trying to check, if not lead, is it a contact? For that, I took this conditional branching that, okay, lead is not found. So let's check the contacts module. So there we searched for the contact using, again, the email ID, and then made a decision whether the contact is there or not. So same way, contact not found is what we have decided. Now, if the contact is not found, then we would want to create a contact in CRM because the purchase has happened. And if it is found, which is the default branching, then basically the lead is found here. So if it's found, then I want to convert this lead into a contact because the business relationship has started because they made a purchase. So we converted it into a contact. So you have got a contact in this step. Now here also, you made a decision that it's there or not. Now, if it's not there, you created a contact here in CRM. If it's there, then you're doing something else. So let me just explain those things. So far, we have used CRM to understand how we can manage leads and contacts based on our business criteria. Going further, what we have done here is we are trying to sync that order that has been created in Zoho Commerce into CRM2. So for that, I'm trying to fetch the product for which the order has been made. So there is a small function that we have written. So we first fetch the product using the details that we got, which is the name. So again, we got the name just with the similar syntax that I had shown you. So after fetching the product, which is searching the product, you are trying to create a sales order. Now, the question is, when you're creating the sales order, you might need the product name, the product ID, the quantity of the product that has been ordered in Zoho Commerce. So certain details will be sitting in CRM and some of them will be sitting in Zoho Commerce. All you need to do is pull them together into a single place and pass on to the next step while creating the order. So for that, we have this option called custom functions. It's a low-code environment wherein you can write deluge functions and bring in different data from different sources, put them together, consolidate, and give an output that can be used sensibly in the other steps. So this is where you can create your custom functions. Click on this and it will open an interface like this. Give name and other details, and if you go next, it will just open an interface like this. Let me open any of those functions. So this is the kind of environment where you can write your own code and then use them across the steps. So here in this case, what we have done is we have written a function. What it does is it takes the values from Zoho Commerce and CRM, puts them together, and allows me to give an output. So this is basically taking the module entry. It's the product details, the quantity from Zoho Commerce. So you see, fetch module entry is another step, and trigger, of course, is new order. So some values are coming in from the trigger and some are coming from the following steps. So that way you consolidate it into a program, and then it can be passed on when the order gets created. So what we did is took this function value, went ahead into CRM's create sales order, and then mapped respective values. So here you see I have Zoho Commerce new order, and I have given the order number, which came from Zoho Commerce. And similarly, I gave the contact details because I want to associate the contacts with the order that got created. So the contacts came from three sources, as you saw. One case was where I converted the lead into contact. The other case was that contact was not found, so I created a contact. So there's three sources from which you get the contact, so you can associate from any of those. So yeah, contact got mapped, and I think no other values. Yeah, the product details were needed. This is where you used that function. You wanted the quantity, you wanted the product name and other details. So this is what the function did. It consolidated all your values and it gave you everything here in the right side of variable. You can use those values this way. So that's how custom function helps you. Now that way we created a sales order, and then probably I wanted to move this data to my sheet so that I can send a report to my finance team that, okay, these are the orders that came in last 1 month. So that way you can just go ahead and map the various columns of your sheet application and get values from different sources. You can collect any of the values from any of these nodes. So all those you can achieve by creating these mappings. And yeah, ultimately I just created a message in channel. So that's how you can keep adding steps. I could choose to create a ticket in desk. I could choose to go back to CRM and do something. If I get a complaint coming in from desk, I could choose to create an event in CRM and then call the customers. All those things you can achieve across these 500 plus apps that Zoho Flow supports. Now I think I'm done with this part. Before we go into administrative aspects of the product, Ashish, if
Yes.
you want, we can give the link to the user and we can test it, or I could just test it.
No, absolutely. So we're going to do that.
This is where,
So yeah, absolutely. So I have just pasted a link here again in the chats. But everybody, if you, so the idea is that what we're going to do is we are going to go and test this particular workflow from this live store that I've just pasted this link in chat. So you know the idea is let's try and order only the face cream product, because I think this is the entire workflow will get triggered when that particular product is ordered. So I have just placed a test on this as well, like 5 minutes ago. So if somebody else wants to just jump in on this website, you also get to see the UI, of course, of how Zoho Commerce looks. This is how Zoho Commerce thing looks, and just go ahead and order the face cream product, which is priced perfectly at $280. Thank you so much. And but go ahead and do that.
maybe
And
I'll also test. Yeah, Ashish, maybe I'll also
yeah,
be
yeah, you
here.
also go ahead and do that, and then let's see how this whole thing works.
Right. Let's go ahead and do it with cart. We will see how many values are coming in here. Let's just Rahul Kumar at zulfa.com. Because you can have any of those values. We'll just take our present in office, California, code 94588. Certain value here and continue. So this is where we are creating an order Free shipping, continue, complete the order, and with 10-15 seconds of this lag, we are done. So now after creating this order, we have different ways of looking at the flow, how it executed. You could go to flow, check the history here, and see if the flow executed or not. So there will be certain lag here. And alternatively, you can go to respective applications like here. So this is what I had given. You saw, I think this is the earlier value. Let's just see if it got executed. There will be certain delay, and we'll see how many such values come in. So yeah, usually we get some 10-15 seconds of delay based on the time. So this is where you starts actively using the products, and we have some delay here. All right, let's see how much time it takes. Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong flow. This is the one that we created, right? Yeah. So this is the execution that happened, and it would have created a message in this channel that we have. So yeah, this is the one. Sorry, I was confused and I was looking at this flow which we had switched off. So this is where the execution has happened. Now you can see that all the steps can be reviewed vis-a-vis what happened across those applications. You can see the output from one app, how the entire payload has come in. You saw I had taken the contact person details, and then I had put the braces 0, and then the names. I had put the last name, I had put the email, and that's how I was able to take these values. Now, this is not the best way to collect data, and you won't be facing the same problem across other applications, but this is something that we are working on. This payload also will become more abstractable, basically, when we have the line items supported in Zoho Flow. So this is not a tricky situation forever. And that way you can look at how your entire execution happened, the input and output across the apps you can see. So yeah, let me see if we have more executions. There's a gap of 10 minutes. I'm not sure if it
Yeah,
happened.
I think that was me.
Okay,
Yeah,
not sure. So yeah, it will keep happening. I think if people from the other side keep on, requesting for those creams. So that's how it will go. So yeah, that's fundamentally how Zoho Flow works, and you have these basic details that you can look at when it comes to testing and debugging your account. And then you also have the option of looking at, so Zoho Flow is org account by default, which means you can have people working in your account from different orgs, from different spaces, and they can collaborate with you to create workflows. And then you have the list of all the connections here, wherein you can see whether a connection is working or not. So if something goes bad, you can see it here. So something goes, maybe you change the password or something changes, and that way you'll see what went wrong. So connection, you can reconnect, test, create new connections, all those things you can do under connection section. And this is overall history of your account, where you can see whatever happened across multiple workflows. And then when you work with the product and you face any problems, you have this option of going to support access, tick on this checkbox, and this will allow our technical team to look at your workflows whenever you have any problems that you might face. So that will be all from my end. And of course, if you are working and you're exploring things, you can go to gallery and look at all these applications that we support, see what all each application has vis-a-vis the triggers and actions. Some lag here. So yeah, here in this interface, you can see a list of all the triggers and actions that are there among these apps. Oops, Ashish, this network is playing with me. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so these are the list of triggers and actions that you can explore and look at the combinations that you might be contemplating. So that's about the gallery and certain things. You can be part of multiple orgs. So at any point in time, you can have your own org and be part of the other orgs, where you can share your connection and they can use your connection if you share, to share data to you through Zoho Flow. So you don't need to just go ahead and work with those accounts. And of course,
got it.
help documentation, all those things are trivial, which you'll explore when you start working with the product. So I think that will be all from my end. I'm on to take all these questions. Ashish, thank you so
Yes.
much.
Absolutely. No, we have tons of questions. I'm gonna just take over the control and just shoot some questions in your direction.
Great.
So, oh wow. All right. First of all, I'm just going to share the slides again. Uh, right. So, all right. There's a couple of questions here, which is so here is the
Yeah,
first.
I'm going to type some of the reply. I think some people are replying here, so no worries.
Yeah, I mean, the questions coming in and the replies going out as well, but we'll just sort of cherry pick some and do this.
Fine.
Uh,
Yeah.
can you see the question on screen in front of you? Is it possible to make a deluge post URL call from Zoho Flow? Is
Yes,
that something?
that's what I was trying to answer, and then I
Yeah.
saw it
Okay.
shifting stuff up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can create post URLs. You can push data using custom function to other applications. So that's yes possible. Let me just reply. Where is that?
That's
Has
okay. You can just speak it out and it'll get recorded and we'll send it out to everyone.
wonderful. Yeah, so you can do that. Yeah.
Great. So the next one we have is yeah, okay, sorry. I'll just take this one. So we have had a few questions around can Zoho Commerce support multiple vendors? So not inherently, as in the product is not yet ready to have or support multiple vendors. What we have is Zoho has another product called Creator. Using that, you can actually have multiple vendors sort of submit products to you. So the core problem is that everybody you give access to the store currently has access to all the products, which if you have vendors, you would not ideally want to do that. So that's why you'll have to sort of use Creator to solve that problem. You will have to write into us and we will go ahead and solve that problem for you over an email. We are at marketing@zohocommerce.com. I will sort of put those emails up on screen and we can solve this for you. Right. So there's another flow question, Rahul.
This
Can you use
the QuickBooks.
can you use Flow to help with monitoring of eternal applications, update logs, notifications into Zoho Analytics, for example, by webhooks to bring alerts into one location? That is by Daniel. I have projected it onto the screen if that helps.
Somehow I'm not able to look at the question, but I think I got the idea. When it comes to monitoring, I'm not sure. Flow's job basically is to move data across multiple apps. It's just a moderator. It looks at something that comes from through the API of an app, pulls it and passes on to the other application. It doesn't store any data. It doesn't create any of those monitoring reporting. You will have just the history of that execution that I showed you. It's just the cache data. It doesn't even remain beyond 90 days. So when it comes to monitoring, I'm not sure if I understood it right, but it doesn't collect any of those monitoring details to create any of the reports.
Got it. All right. I'm just gonna pick up another one uh, from David here. David has asked us. We don't use price books because it discounts all products and we never discount labor. Can Flow be used to only show discounts on material only if quoting to a preferred vendor? Uh,
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
yeah,
if you can think of these applications like Creator or Zoho Analytics, you'll have the scope of creating a view where you can expose the discounts that you're providing across products that can be achieved, but it needs a little bit of thinking around these multiple apps. And Flow's job would be to move these data from one app. You can pick the criteria that if the discount is this much, if the vendor is this, you can create that and then push to some of the pages of Creator or maybe Analytics. You can do that.
absolutely. So, this is the beauty of a product like Flow, right? As in, everything can be done. It's just about figuring out how exactly. So,
Exactly.
it'll really help us if you sort of expand on that requirement a little bit. And if you send us an email, I'll loop Rahul in and we'll try and solve this problem a little bit. So, it'll really help us out.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
so we have a question from Brian, which is I'm trying to take purchase orders created in inventoryplanner.com and recreate them in Zoho Books. Inventory Planner is not an app currently on Flow. Which option initially would I use to create the above flow?
Oh, so the problem here with me is that when you project the question, I can't see this. I think trainers cannot see the projected questions.
I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm just gonna project the question now and close it. I don't know if you can see it now.
Or you could read it for me. I think let it be for everybody else.
Okay.
Read it for me.
Um, mm, mm, mm. All right. So the question is this. I'm trying to take purchase orders created in inventory-planner.com and recreate them in Zoho Books. Inventory Planner is not an app currently on Flow.
Mhm.
Which option initially would I use to create the above flow?
Okay. Again, I'm not sure whether the planner.com
Yeah.
has the option of supporting webhook, but you could give it a try. Search for the webhook setup of that app. If that's there, you could use that trigger, which was webhook trigger, the third trigger that I showed you in the beginning. Try that, and parallelly let us know through an email to support@zohoflow.com if you're looking forward to having that app
Yeah.
in Flow. We'll pass it on to the apps team. Based on their assessment, they can add this app.
Perfect. So actually, Rahul, now I figured it out, right? So I think this is an update which has been applied to this Showtime product. The moment we project the question, it goes into the answered thing,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So yeah, so you'll see these questions which I'm talking about in the answered
Uh,
panel the moment I project it. It's
I,
wonderful, right?
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Sorry about this ignorance. I should have known this.
No, I also just discovered it. I think it's a new one. All right, so I'm taking a question from Sal, which is a couple of questions actually. Will you show a webhook example on this session connecting to a Zoho Creator app? If not, can you point me to where that is explained? So if you have any documentation, you could just let us know, Rahul. Or I think the better thing, Sal, here is that you just go ahead and write us an email and we will sort of send you some data on it, and we can also specifically help you to solve that
Exactly.
issue.
Yeah. And
Right?
even if it's a detailed session that is needed, we can
Yeah,
arrange support sessions for Sal.
absolutely, 100%. Can you also explain if Flow can connect to a SQL database via ODBC or other connector? Alternatively, can Flow connect to Microsoft Dynamics GP? Okay, I have no idea what just happened, so over to you, Rahul.
This keeps coming to me.
Okay,
So sorry about this, but this is something that we are still working on. This concept of on-prem support, which is where we will be able to look at on-premise data and pull it onto the cloud. That's something that we have not yet supported. So SQL, if you're mentioning about that on-premise data base, we don't have a way to pick that. But I have also heard that it has some kind of pings the endpoints that it can open. As long as it opens the endpoint to the cloud, we can explore the possibility. So this is something you could write to us with the details, and we'll see if there is any possibility there.
yeah. So Sal, that's a big email from you that we're expecting. Really looking forward to this one, man. All right. So there's a question from Patrick. Of course, Patrick, we are recording this session. I have made a small error. The first part of the session, I did not record the first 15 odd minutes. So I'll do that recording again and send it over. But by Tuesday, you should have the session in your email box. The next one is Dennis had asked a question earlier that so for this session we just took flow plus commerce, but essentially if the idea is the same and you could use it across even our competition, and you can use the flow product to make your e-commerce connections work across different platforms. I'm just going to take this one. This is a question from John here, Rahul, which says, are there any plans to support QuickBooks Enterprise on Flow?
Well, QuickBooks is there. I'll have to see if Enterprise has certain kind of limitations that we could explore, but QuickBooks is there as one of the apps.
Okay,
So
awesome.
yeah, you try that. You search in our gallery, see if it fits your bill. If it doesn't, then I think we'll have to talk. So you could again write to support@zohoflow.com, and we'll see.
Perfect. Um, so again, there's a question from Ali. Again, it's around integrations. I'm just going to project it, which is we're using Zoho products for our office support, but the store is based on CS card. Is there any way to integrate them? So again, I think it's about CS card integrating into Flow. Uh,
Did you say X card or something card?
CS
C
dash.
card. All right.
Yeah,
Again, we'll have to look at that. Let's just pass on to support@zohoflow.com, and we'll see how it can be looked at.
absolutely. Hey Sal, thank you so much for pointing it out. I just typed it in 5 minutes before the session started. You got me there. So yeah, our email address on the. Uh, I'm just going to jump to the first slide. I believe that one has the correct one. Yes. Okay. So we're going to use these email address, guys. Uh, yeah, Sal caught me out on that one. Uh, right. I'm just going through all the questions one last time. Uh, for the flow to work, do you need the app to be opened? I guess not, right? It's an automated thing which will just trigger from orders being placed, right?
Where are you? Okay, for the flow to work, do you need the app to be opened? No, so it's like you set it up in Flow once, and then it starts working as and when the event occurs in that trigger app. So yeah, it works on its own. That's the idea of automation. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just trying to figure out if I have missed some other questions.
Paul is asking if he can use Flow to connect other apps beside commerce. Yes, you have 500 plus apps that you could connect. If you go to
Yeah,
zoho.com/flow, you'll see a list of all these apps under a gallery. You can explore what you want to connect.
absolutely. Yonton has asked us a question. I
This
want to take orders from Zoho inventory
Mhm.
and create an order in Shopify. The create order flow for Shopify includes very few fields. I would like to populate a few more of the fields that are available in Shopify.
Right. So that's where that custom function comes to the rescue. We need to maybe work together. So yeah, again, same response, right? To support@zohoflow.com. And we'll see how we can give you a function that can pull more values from the app to be pushed. Yeah.
Absolutely. Um Yeah, I would have loved it if this was more of a commerce question, but yeah, I guess the idea is to help e-commerce sellers get what they want. So yeah, please do write in. Even if you write into Zoho Commerce, marketing at zohocommerce.com, I sort of promise that I'll pass on the question to Rahul and we'll solve that problem for you.
Absolutely.
So, uh, right. So Jaya Hassan, thank you so much for asking these questions. I know that a multi-vendor feature is not in commerce yet, but as I said, we do have a method to connect, the other Zoho product, which is uh, Zoho Creator, and we can help you solve that problem if you write into us. Anything else? Arti, do you spot any other questions that we need to take? Hey, thank you, Mike. You also spotted the spelling mistake. I'm really sorry. As I said, it's sometimes late in India. I've been having senior moments all day today, so this is just one of those, I guess. Uh, Right. I'm not seeing any other questions. So, guys, if anybody has something else, just type it in. We will take that question. Or, of course, you have our email IDs. You can always reach us there. For time check, we are right at the stroke of a full hour. So, thank you so much for asking so many questions. It was really engaging. It was really fun. We're not going to stretch the session at all. We're going to close in just about a couple, around 10 or 20 seconds. But again, you see our email IDs on the screen. Please do write into us. It's always fun to uh, see questions and try and solve problems uh, for our users. So again, thank you so much, Rahul, for taking the session. It was really informative. I had fun looking at all the possibilities on Zoho Flow,
Thank
and
you, Abhishek. Thank you.
thanks everyone for joining in. It was
Just one more point.
yeah,
I'm sorry, by mistake, I could not upload the handouts that could be given to the users for them to refer. What
okay.
I'll do is I'll pass on those files to you. When you
Yes.
write them, you can just pass on. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I'll happily do that. We must also do a follow-up session, depending on Sal's questions or other questions that we get today, or subsequently in emails. We'll probably put together a couple of use cases and sort of bring those. Probably even
Definitely.
showcase some amazing automations people might come up with.
Yeah, great. Yeah. So as we get the questions, we could probably plan a better session with more detailed use cases, and then we both can, run through a few examples rather than just the demo, and then we'll see
Absolutely.
how it
Yeah,
goes.
yeah, yeah. That's always the more interesting part. Great. Thank you so much. Thanks, Brian, for calling that out. and right. Thank you everyone for coming in. Hey, thanks, Sharad. Great to see you on the platform here. I see your question. What I'll do is I'll reply on it over an email right after the session. Uh, Thanks, Zach. Thank you so much for your time. And we'll see everybody soon. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye. Thank you, Ashish.
Thanks, Rahul. Thanks, Aarti. Thanks, Yuni. Bye bye.